Welcome to Writer Gamer. My name's Kevin. Happy to be a writer and a gamer. And I was thinking about, I could talk about microtransactions, because Diablo's up in there with some controversy. There's another game, Overwatch, I think, or some fucking game with microtransactions. But I'm like, you know what? Fuck microtransactions. Let's talk about my PlayStation 1 collection and apparently how I bought a game that has no fucking game in it. And I did not find this out until I started doing this video. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a game that I normally would have bought. So this has to be, I wonder if this is my mom's, actually. That's probably why there's no game in it. Maybe it's in her PlayStation 1. But then how did it end up in my stuff? I don't know. Because there's also this game, Bust-A-Move. I don't fucking remember buying that either. But somehow it's in my collection. At least the game's in it, though. Well, my mom doesn't really play video games all that much anymore, so maybe I'll have to go to her house and confiscate that game from her, if she has it. Otherwise, I bought a game with no fucking disc. The joys. So, I used to think RPGs, JRPGs, or RPGs in general, are pretty fucking stupid. Mostly turn-based. Select a word, watch the character do something. Sounds pretty fucking boring if you ask me. Then I went to a friend's house where we played Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, which, of course, led me to, obviously, getting into the card game. That was something, all right. Entered a tournament when I was like 25, got my butt whooped by an 8-year-old. So there's that little nugget of history for me. I no longer collect the cards. I just kind of play the games. I don't really watch any of the new anime series that they have, the spin-offs, whatever you want to call it. I do own the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series on DVD, but beyond that, yeah. But my friend also had a tendency, as we all know what friends love to do, play single-player games, and you're stuck sitting there watching them. So he chose The Legend of Dragoon. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that he did. Because he got done playing. I put Forbidden Memories in. I probably play for 2-3 hours. And I turn around. It's like 2-3 in the morning. He's fucking crashed out on the floor behind me. And I'm like, well, he's sleeping. I'm not waking him up. More game time for me. So I actually put The Legend of Dragoon in. Ironically, he also had the black label. So if you have the green label, which is the greatest hits, the discs are black and white. I do have it. It's somewhere. I just don't know where. It could be in storage. Because I do enjoy the shit out of this game. So yeah. And basically, this is the game that got me into playing JRPGs. After this, I would actually dive into, let me find it. Where are you? Somewhere down here. Here we are. Final Fantasy VIII, ladies and gentlemen. So this was actually my first Final Fantasy game that I actually played and beat. And yeah, I'm actually kind of glad. Wait a minute. This has 2 manuals? I'm not used to seeing that kind of thing. Maybe. Oh, it does. Oh, a mini walkthrough. Man, the stuff they used to put in these things. Got a mini walkthrough and then the manual itself. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's awesome. Finding stuff out in a video, right? So yeah, I know that this is not one of the more well-liked, at least on the PlayStation, but I enjoyed the shit out of it, and I'm kind of glad that my next Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy IX. This is, of course, a game that ended up being my personal favorite out of the Final Fantasy games on the PlayStation. Now, ironically, I do own, where is it? It's somewhere around here. I just saw it. Final Fantasy VII. I've still actually yet to play through this game completely. It's not that I find it boring or anything like that. No, I didn't write on it. Someone else did. At least they didn't carve it. I've seen people do that. They're like, I'm going to put my name on it, so I'm going to carve my name into the back of the disc. Yeah, you just fucked it up. You're an idiot. All right. There's even a sticker on here. Like 3-2. I don't know. I bought it off eBay, so there's that one. But yeah, I've yet to actually play through that completely, ladies and gentlemen. Now, growing up, my parents bought Dukes of Hazzard, Race for Home. Us kids played it. We did enjoy it. So when I was sitting there, I was on eBay one day, I need to make my PlayStation collection bigger. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, my parents had a Dukes of Hazzard games. So I just searched Dukes of Hazzard because I couldn't remember the name. And then when I saw the case, I was like, hey, that's the game we used to play. So I bought it. Inuyasha, A Feudal Fairy Tale, basically kind of like a fighting game. It has a story mode, but it plays out like a fighting game. And I enjoyed Inuyasha. Ironically, it's the only real, other than Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, it's the only, okay, no, because I think I own, well, we'll wait for that when I do that video. That's irrelevant, because it's not PlayStation. This is actually technically the first and only, anime game that I've actually owned, based on an anime, other than, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. This was a game that I have no idea why my parents bought it growing up, and we played it as kids, so I enjoyed it, I think, the most out of all of the siblings, and I ended up rebuying it, and that is Dark Stone, which, yes, this is actually a PlayStation, a PC game, that was ported to the PlayStation, of all things. So it's got like this open world-ish type, sections, load screens between them, and then you have a dungeon you have to go into, which is, linear, nothing wrong with that. And yeah, we enjoyed it. Never actually beat it. Has a talking dragon in it because, apparently that's the thing to have. This had to have come in a lot of games because I have no fucking clue where this is not a game that I myself would have bought. Mostly because I've never really played any of the original Mega Man games. And if I was going to buy a Mega Man game, I think I would go back in time and start with the first one, not this one. But I decided to keep it. Didn't come with, the original manual or anything, just the game. So there's that in my collection. Who knows if I'll ever play it. Let's go and play Beyond of the Beyond, ladies and gentlemen. This is a game that, ironically, I have a tendency to watch people on YouTube and they'll talk about their favorite games. So then I'm like, I need to add that to my list of PlayStation games that I have not played. So here we have Beyond the Beyond, which I'm going to assume it had a pretty big manual in it because it objectively only has one disc in it. Seems kind of like a waste when you honestly think about it. But maybe the manual was pretty fucking big for this game. I wouldn't know because it's incomplete. Valkyrie Profile. First Valkyrie game I ever played. And I enjoyed the shit out of it. It took me, because I couldn't remember exactly what this was called, because I was trying to buy it, because it was something, ironically, that my parents bought. I have no idea why they buy games that they never ended up playing. Anyway, so, yeah. I rebought this. I think this cost me like over $100, too. I think it was almost $150. Shit's getting expensive, ladies and gentlemen. Wild Arms 2. Never played any of the Wild Arms games. I probably should check and see if there's a Wild Arms 1 on the PlayStation before I pop this in. Unless it's kind of like a Final Fantasy where the sequels don't really, are true sequels, but I don't know. Breath of Fire 4. I've never even played. This was one of the games that came in a lot. I'd do that. Give me a RPG PlayStation lot, and then I buy it. Dragon Warrior 7. So the first Dragon Quest game that I played was actually Dragon Quest 8. And that got me into the Dragon Quest series. So I ended up sawing this. This bad boy was, I think, $150 as well on eBay. Then we have Grandia, ladies and gentlemen. Grandia. I have started to play this, have not yet finished it. This is another game where I watched somebody talking about RPGs, and they themselves enjoyed it. Just kind of like this game right here, Parasite Eve. I basically watched certain people that did certain RPG type videos and decided to pick it up because that's what I do. 3 discs, all right? My backlog of gaming is quite big. That's my goal, is like when I retire from work, instead of getting in an RV and traveling the world, I'm going to play all my fucking video games. Oh, my case is broke. I'm going to have to try and find a new one. So this is a game that we also played. I'm not going to try and put it together because it's fucking broken. That's awesome. Anyway, Driver 2. I think this is actually how it came. It was broken when I got it, which I hate it when I buy something that is broken, because now I have to try and find an empty case to replace the broken case. This is basically like the first, I'm going to say, Grand Theft Auto type game that I ever played. All right, growing up as a kid. Our parents bought it, ironically. Another game that I think my dad played it once or twice, but after that, he never really touched it. So us kids mostly played that. And then last but not least, you know, we have an action replay, ladies and gentlemen. Because when you beat a game, at least that's how I do it. When I beat a game, I like to replay the game and use cheat codes. So, for example, where is it? The Legend of Dragoon. After I beat this game, because I didn't own an action replay at the time, and ironically, this is something that my mom bought. Cheater. And so I would beat a game, and then I'd be like, well, I want to, you know, kind of be the badass from the beginning of the game. So in this case, for example, I would use the code to have all the characters at the beginning of the game. And they would all level up. And ironically, it didn't really glitch the game out when I would run into the character and they would join the team. Because they would join the team, but they would still be the level they were at that I was using them as. So there's that one. That's like one of the things about using these is sometimes stuff can go funky, monkey, wonky as you're playing. Sometimes you get lucky. So, not a very big collection, but a collection nonetheless. I hope you enjoyed this video in some fashion or form. Now, I am going out of town for work. I'm not coming back until Friday. If I have time, I'll try to record some kind of video and have it scheduled to come out during that week. Anyway, I'll see you next time.